Hare Krishna. Thanks all of you for joining. So we are very glad to have His Grace Nirmal Krishna Prabhuji with us. Prabhuji is a medical doctor and currently Prabhuji is serving as a Chief Operating Officer and a Vice President at Apurva Hospitals and Diagnostic Centers. Prabhuji has been associated with ISKCON for over 2 decades. Like he has been first introduced to ISKCON in 1994, and he was formally initiated by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj in 2004. So we had a great fortune of having Maharaj also with us some time back. Prabhuji has been serving ISKCON in various capacities in Bangalore. He's involved in preaching associated with different temples and centers. And Prabhuji also, lived in Vrindavan. And Prabhuji was serving as a vice principal in the Bhaktivedanta Gurukul and International School. So Prabhuji has a lot of, service experience, and he's very knowledgeable in his scriptures, very sincere and devotee. So we are very fortunate to have Prabhuji. I'll hand it over to Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shilor Prabhu. Good to hear the glorification of myself. And that is one of the qualities today I'll be explaining. Thank you so much for the introduction. Yes, Hare Krishna to all of you. Thank you very much for joining today's Japa session. And this is one of the important subject matter that we will be discussing today. In all the processes of 9 processes of devotional service, the prominent one is Kirtanam, chanting of the glories. It can be group chanting or individual chanting. According to Vaishnava Chintamani, it is mentioned that Kirtanam is better than Smaranam. Smaranam is something not that easy to do. Sorry, before that, I have not started with the invocation prayers. Of course, we are not singing, so please let me start with my invocation prayers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Dishadarine Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaura Chandraye Radhikaye Tatariye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tat Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes, thank you. So in Vaishnava Chintamani, it's mentioned that chanting or Kirtanam is more easier than remembering the Lord. Because remembering Smaranam is a very difficult task. For that, we have to be really qualified. All the time to remember Krishna, we see practically, although it has been mentioned that 24/7, we have to depend on Krishna and to remember Krishna. But are we able to do that? It's very difficult. But in Chintamani, it's written in Vaishnava Chintamani that by Kirtanam, by chanting is very easy. The only thing that we have to do in chanting is moving our lips. That we are all good in that. Practically, we see with 24/7, except the saving time, we move our lips very nicely. Instead of moving our lips in Prajalpa, in other areas, it's good to chant the holy names of the Lord. Although we are chanting, although we know there are 3 stages of chanting, Namaprad, Namabhas, and Sutana, it's good to chant. Whether we want or not, there are people who have come to our congregation when we go on the chanting of the holy names on the roads, when we do Harina. People do not know what does it mean. People do not know what the holy name is. They don't know any details of the holy name. All of us became to Krishna consciousness. We were not aware of the intricacies, of the secrecies of the holy name. but still we got into it only because of the mercy of the holy name. Today, we all gathered here. The first thing we should all understand is we are the most fortunate living entities in this material universe. Not only in this world, the whole universe, we are one of the most fortunate living beings. First, please, every one of you, pat on yourself and be proud and glad that we are one of them. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Brahmanda Koti, Brahmanda Brahmata Koti, what is it? Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasade Payabhakti Lakti. Brahmanda Brahmita Kona Bhagyavan. Brahmanda, that's Brahmanda, there is millions and millions living entities are wandering in various species of life, even as demigods, as high living beings, entities. But to get this bhakti, knowing Krishna, see, it's a very intricate science, Krishna bhakti. Just because we have got it easily, because we have got it free of charge, we underestimate the valuable jewel that we have. We all of us, we preserve the most valuable thing in bank lockers or keep it in a very safe place in the house. 100 times we check before leaving the house, is everything is fine, because this is, we consider it more valuable. But the most valuable in the whole 3 worlds, or 14 planetary systems, is to understand Krishna as a Supreme Lord. Only to understand, only to accept Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He is the Bhagavan, is no one beyond him. We must have done millions and millions of piety, millions of yajna. We have performed all the Vedic Shastras, everything in our previous lives or somehow. Otherwise, just to understand Krishna as a Supreme Lord, you must have gone through all this. So you are all very much, great personalities together here to understand this holy name. And in this, the holy name is a very, very precious thing. So today we were going to discuss, I'm going to discuss a little bit different today. You have all heard about the power of holy name. We have all heard about the offenses of the holy name. Just like a person goes to a doctor and he has symptoms and he feels that I have fever, I have this pain, that pain, nausea, and he goes to the doctor and doctor checks and tells that, okay, according to the system, let me do some tests, diagnostics, and then we will come out and they will sound that this is the prognosis, this is the diagnosis, this is the disease you have. Now you have to get treated. So we all know that holy name is very, very merciful. It's the most merciful thing in the whole entire aspects of our understanding of the Shastras. And still, any offenses that we commit, it may be there are many offenses. There is Nama Prad, there is the Dhamma Prad is there, Vaishnava Prad is there, Seva Prad is there. There are many aparads, and all these aparads can be counteracted through Nam, through the holy name. But when we do Nama Aparad, then that is a very difficult thing to overcome that, because that is very strong thing. Yes, Nam itself is the means and the end, and it's the cause of our deliverance, and it can even purify us of our offenses, but still we could not take it. So we know there are 10 offenses, and of course there are 11th offense. Then the 11th offense is the cause of the other 10 offenses. The 11th offense is inattentive chanting, which we all know, we all experienced about property, inattentive chanting. Now I'm not going to speak on the offenses, because we would have heard and you know that, but I'm going to speak about the result of offenses. According to Bhakti Sandarbha, according to Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, he has mentioning a series of mainly 5 symptoms when we offend the holy name of the Lord. So let me go into it. This is like a litmus test. It is a litmus test. When I went through this, I got a shock of my life. My God, now I have all these symptoms, and we may have it in different degrees, but this is a problem. So let's us understand these things, and please, when we understand these symptoms, please do not apply onto others. We should better apply on ourselves. What we do is generally, oh, this is the symptom I saw in that. Oh, yeah. we will go up to the 14 planetary systems. We'll find people who have all these symptoms. You cannot do that. We should have to find out. We should find ourselves these symptoms and how to cure this. When we have a disease, I first think to cure myself. So let me think. So according to Bhakti Sandarbha Anucheda 154 and to 159, this is mentioned by Sri Jiva Goswami Path. And these 5 prominent effects of offensively chanting Shri Krishna's transcendental names are to be considered very seriously. And also, every sadhaka should be very careful in not committing these offenses, the 10 offenses, so that we can prevent ourselves from these 5 basic symptoms of 5 disasters of chanting, of offending the holy name. The first one is kautilya, it is crookedness. So once we try to, when we offend the holy names, when we do all this inactive chanting and all the 10 apparats, comes the crookedness, kautilya. So Jiva Goswami gets into it in very deeply, but I will not go into deep. We don't have time. And so what he says is that the offenders to Nam become crooked in their dealings with others. Please understand, they become crooked in dealings with others. The first crookedness of dealings is we become disrespectful towards other living entities. From the very beginning, from the ant up to Lord Sri Krishna, we try to offer. It can be subtle, it can be gross. And we start generally with the people just next to us. Then that becomes, devotees, our family people. Others, we'll try to look at them down. I am now a devotee. Look at that person, how unfortunate for soul it is. How unfortunate. We become little, crookedness, and we find faults. And that is also one of the another quality that I will come up later. But this is one of the crookedness quality. And Shri Parashara Muni, on this particular subject in Skanda Puran, he mentions that it's an important thing that he says is crooked, deceitful people cannot attain Govinda Bhakti. They can even chant and remember Sri Bhagavan Sri Krishna. This is the important aspect, that when we become crookedness, when we start finding faults with, when we start saying find fault with others, means it is not only with devotees, but with any other living entity. We can't find fault in the sense, according to Krishna consciousness, according to our Siddhanta, the Guru has the right, Guru has a very thankless responsibility. Even Maharaja say that, Srila Prabhupada said, what to do? I have been given the responsibility, so I have to find fault with you and to correct you. So unless we are in a position to elevate that person, unless I have an authority to correct that person and make him uplift in Krishna consciousness, I should not find fault. If you see that person, try to help him, maybe speaking to his seniors, somehow correct him so that he can uplift himself in Krishna consciousness with sympathy and empathy. So this is in a brief what means crookedness. His mainly thing is trying to find fault, disrespectful towards. Disrespectful is the main thing rather than finding fault towards the living. The second thing comes is faithlessness. We will develop faithlessness. The holy name, when we offer the faithlessness comes is that we lose faith and conviction of the glories of Krishna Bhakti. And we'll start harboring contrary, non-devotional ideas. We have seen that. We will concoct our ideas, or we will try to join some other cult or some other process. Oh, this is not very good. This is just basics. Oh, that much, or in that Babaji speaking very esoteric topics. Oh, better I'll go there and hear him. And we'll try to, jump like monkeys from one branch to another and try to do all these things. So what happens is generally we'll go there, the faith comes down. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, I have given everything. There's nothing more than my books and this. Do not need anything else. So we have no time. If we go and reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we will not have a lifetime enough to fully understand everything that Srila Prabhupada has written. Prabhupada has given in a nutshell. He has spent, he sometimes says that I've spent my blood, I spent everything writing these books. Once Srila Prabhupada was writing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and every day the servant hears Srila Prabhupada, night sitting down and recording. Once for continuously 2 or 3 days, I don't know exact the days, there was nothing happening. And the servant got a little, thoughtful. And yeah, Srila Prabhupada, last 2-3 days, I am not able to hear you translating. Are you okay? Prabhupada said, no, nothing. That's not a problem. I'm unable to find exact transliterated word for one word in Sanskrit. I'm just thinking about it. Just think, Srila Prabhupada is just contemplating on a particular one word. What is the problem? Just put something, right? For that, he was contemplating for 2-3 days because he wanted to reach every sincere soul. He doesn't want anybody to misunderstand the readings of his books. He has been very, very keen. He has not written like other authors. He's not an author. He was just a pure servant of Sri Krishna, and he was just typing what Krishna was saying. He was just typing what Krishna was telling him. So his books are very powerful. There's nothing beyond Srila Prabhupada's books. Please do not think of going anywhere else like monkeys jumping one branch. You will not get anything until you understand Srila Prabhupada's books. This is the means and ends of Srila Prabhupada's books. But this faithlessness comes into us when we try to offer the holy name of God. Third is the distraction. We get distracted from what we do. See, these are all indicated things like faithlessness, distraction, and when we heard this, go take out till these are all into it, but it's like micro management. We have to see in the micro levels. These things comes offenses. So it's mentioned in distraction that Namaparada is become absorbed in material objects and pursuits. What happens is the process of Krishna consciousness is to get us away from these material attachments. Like Guru Maharaj mentions in one of his talks, in one of his speeches, that the holy scriptures, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, whatever, all these great transcendental subject matters, has immense energy, immense power. The power is unimaginable. Unless they have this immense energy and power contained within themselves, it is not possible to get us away from the inertia of matter. We are inside this matter, which is full of tamaguna, the sleepiness and enjoyment. And to get us out of it, how we have come, devotees have come, and we are seeing we can trace the higher nature is only possible because of the strong energy of the scriptures and holy names. So what will happen is, instead of entering into this secrecy of the transcendental nature of the holy names and the scriptures, we will get attracted to more into matter again. This is the distraction. What is the first symptom of distraction is we would like to make more money. We would like to attain more degrees, more education things. That erode the faith in Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. Now, please do not put a line here and misunderstand this quote. It's not making money is wrong. Studying further, attaining degrees are wrong. No, please do not think wrong in this way. It's a very subtle thing. What it means is that definitely, if you see even Maharajas, who was Prabhupada's disciples, have gone and done their PhD in Oxford and other universities. They wanted to study more because they know that if you have a better degrees, then it's preaching is easy. People always wanted to see what kind of this is. So that is all fine. But by the way, we should always introspect and think, what is the reason I want to earn money? Is it for my enjoyment, or is it that this will help me in preaching or help me to build my Krishna consciousness in various ways that you only have to think about. So this is very important. So I'm going a little fast, but we have less time. So please introspect yourself. Are these qualities coming in me? I have to climb the corporate ladder. Let me become this and this. I have to go match by, I would make $1 million. See, because I am telling you is these all these propensities are there in our hearts, because that's why we are in this material world, in this inert matter. This matter is a very dirty thing. It is inert. It will really, subdue us. It will push us back. So we have to be always checking this out. If I do it, sometimes we may think I'm doing for Krishna, but let us be very careful. That's why we have to always check with our senior disciples, with our God brothers, God sisters, or with our spiritual master, our Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru. We should always check. Maharaj, Prabhu, Mataji, I have this tendency coming up. Is it okay? Is it not? So Guru Sadhu Shastra is always, we have to compare, always check with this Guru Sadhu Shastra. Am I thinking is correct? Is it parallel with these thoughts? Otherwise, what happens is we may think that we are doing something and actually we were not doing. We are going in the wrong way unless we check. Unless we ask someone, is this address correct? Am I going in the right way? They will say, no, sir, you have to go take this turn. You have come so far wrong. So how do we know unless I check with someone? And because this is a new road to us, we may not take a wrong path. So we must be careful. And this is the third thing we have seen. We have seen first we have seen deceit, crookedness. Then we have seen faithlessness, destruction. Now the fourth is slackening of devotion. What Jiva Kusuma Prabhupada says is a result of Namaparas, when Bhakti Bhajan wanes and one again becomes absorbed in sense gratification. That is Maya. One thinks excessively about one's own bodily happiness and distress and that of others. Please understand, very beautiful thing. He mentions that one will think of the bodily happiness and distress of him and others also. So we think that, oh, I'm a so, so a nice person, I'm thinking of the distress of others. Yes, but on what point are you thinking? Are you thinking of the bodily distress, the bodily conscious, or you're thinking about on the spiritual consciousness? Like always, Prabhupada mentions that when a person is drowning, we pick up the coat of the person and we say, I've saved him, I've saved him. Here is the coat. Where have you saved him? I got his coat, I got his coat. But the person has dead. So we are doing all these instances of, that thisism, and all these social services is like taking the coat and letting the peasant drown. So when we see the when we due to this aparadha and this slackening of devotion means that we get back into our old habits, old tendencies. This is all there. Please don't become, oh my God, I have all these things. No, you have all come up. We have taken this process. This will all be there. What to do? Just like when we are inside the water, what we see is water. It's a difficult thing, but we must try to become a fish which can extract oxygen from the water, which we cannot do it, right? Because we are not used to extract oxygen from the water. We are good in extracting oxygen from the air outside the water. So now we are in a position where we have to do that. So that comes by training. When we train ourselves, then we become, people can stay inside the water. Sabari Rishi stayed inside the water for billions of years and did meditation. So just practice. So do not worry that these tendencies are coming up. It may come up in due process because we are used to be in this material world with this matter for millions and millions of years. And the tendencies are going to be there. It will slowly take time. Don't hurry. Don't be in a rapid fast. Don't be in a, yes, going back to Krishna is our desire, but don't, jump too fast so that we fall too fast. So this is the fourth. The fifth, the last, the symptom which mentioned in Krishna Sandarbha is pride. This is a very important aspect, which is also linked with all this pride. When we are offered the Nama Prabhu, one starts feeling proud of his achievements, especially his achievement in Krishna consciousness. Wow, I am doing so much. And, I have made so much disciples. I have made so much devotees. I am preaching this. I am doing this. I am doing deities worship. And then in materially, we are so much puffed up. There are people who are puffed up materially. It just changes into devotional service. I've changed my attire. I've changed this thing. But that same thing comes into a different form. We are in a different, what to say, uniform. And only a different, phenomena. But the same thing comes back. So it generates other offenses. Again, it comes back to the first offense of crookedness. We try to offend Vaishnavas. But he says pride precedes a fall. So the pride is a very dangerous thing that is very difficult. It's deep-rooted inside our heart, just like that lust and also the envy. It's very difficult to come out of it. But practice makes perfect. Just depend the cause, the root, and the end, the means is holy name. So again, we have to go to the holy name. Ask for forgiveness, beg for forgiveness. And Sri Krishna Bhagavan is the most merciful personality. There is no one more merciful in the three worlds than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And more than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Nityananda Vasai. And these people have come to this material world, or in this particular Kali Yuga, only to deliver us. The holy name was always available in all the yugas. Every yuga has this particular processes. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali Yuga. It's not holy name was not there, but in this particular holy Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu empowered the holy name. He has put the power. He has entrusted us with this holy name, giving all the Krishna Prem, Krishna Bhakti. He has put it in it. He opened the holy name. He put everything and he closed and gave us. Just like samosa, he put the sabji and closed it. He has closed it and given to us. That's why the holy name is Susukam. It's very tasty when we are chanting now. Because the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara. We are very fortunate to be in this parampara. There's no better parampara and better procedure or the process than this Krishna consciousness. So I first of all beg forgiveness from all of you for if I have offended any one of you in any time. And also I would like to beg all of you to take this process very seriously and do not become demotivated or anything. You are all in the best process. You are in the best hands of no one else than Srila Prabhupada. We have nowhere to go. There's no one to go. There's no need to go. Our success is 100% sure because Prabhupada and Krishna will never forget us, our services. Just before concluding, I would like to read a small poem by the medieval poet Premananda Das. We have 3 more minutes. It's a beautiful poem. I don't know how many of you have heard about Premananda Das. He is a medieval. He lived in the 17th century, 1700s, in the beginning of 1700s. He was coming in the big succession of Janavi Mata, who is the consort of Nityananda Prabhu, who is a wonderful personality. He was so much of bhakti for Krishna and for Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And the beautiful thing is, at the age of 16, he left his Kutilya Gram in not Kutilya, but I forgot. Some place in West Bengal. And he went to Vrindavan at the age of 16, and he was a cook for Radha Govindaji, the deities of Rupa Goswami. He was serving there from that age till he had written many books, translated many of the other scriptures of our Gaudiya Sampradaya. So he says very beautifully, "Oh mind, how can you forget? Seeing you," the heading, the title of this poem is "The Yamadudas Are Laughing." The Yamadudas are laughing. I don't know how they laugh, but they laugh. So the poem says, "Oh mind, how can you forget? Seeing you, the servants of Yamaraj clap their hands and laugh. Day and night, you go on talking nonsense, but you can't utter the holy names of Sri Hari, obtaining this rare human form of life. But for what happiness are you losing this greatest opportunity? You consider your wealth and relatives as your own, but who will go with you? Being proud of your bodily strength, you didn't care for anything. And now you are stuck under the grip of the Lord of Death. Even after seeing and hearing, you couldn't understand. You thought that which is inessential is the essence. You broke your own head. Now tell whose fault is that? You do not know whether your body will fall now or later. You'll remember all your so-called happiness once you are tied with the leather noose around your neck." And he concludes saying, "Chant the names of Hari, Hari constantly. Then only can you escape the punishment of Yamaraj." Premananda says, "If you do not serve Hari, then may your face turn black in shame." Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I think I was just in time. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Pranam Sankirtan Yajna ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for taking us through the important points. specifically highlighting what are the most common mistakes we commit and how to overcome them.
Thank you.
Just want to open the floor if anyone has any question or comment.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yeah.
Can you please tell your name, please?
My name is Shanmukh Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Shanmukh.
Yes, yes.
So thank you for enlightening us on these 5 symptoms which one can observe in oneself once they perform Namaparad. Yeah, you have mentioned how it will destroy all our efforts towards the path of Krishna consciousness and achieving the goal of the human life. At the same time, since you are a doctor, I'm also asking, what is the medicine? From your experience, what you think? First root cause is avoiding Namaparad, and also these 5 symptoms seem to be interdependent. So there is something which might be the one out of these 5 is the cause for all the, the one is the root and the others 4. Like say Namaparad is the root, but even these 5 symptoms, if we closely analyze, they are interrelated. So what is the medicine, Prabhuji? How do we practice?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Yes, I think I have discussed a little bit about this in the beginning. As I say, the means and the end is the holy name. So these are the symptoms. So we cannot use the symptoms to purify ourselves. Symptoms are the problem, the cause of the disease. So we don't go to the disease and we have to see what's the cause of the disease and we have to remove that. Once His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was in the airport, and then somebody told that his minister, what's her name? She was Sanjay Gandhi's wife. What's her name?
Maneka Gandhi.
Yes, correct. Maneka Gandhi. She was there in the airport. So they want. So Maharaj actually, because she's a social service activist and she's very powerful. So he went and met her as a courtesy, and then she started to argue with Maharaj in the sense, you people are doing so many things, preaching, but what are you doing for the society? What are you doing for the humanity? What are you doing? So Maharaj, in his own style, he said that when you have a boil on the hand, we don't there are 2 ways to handle it. One, we can put an ointment or something on the top and just get a symptomatic cure. Or otherwise, we can find out the cause for this boil and cure that so that the boil doesn't reoccur again. So what we are doing is the second thing. We go to the root and try to, it may be taking time because that takes time. But what you're doing is you're applying ointment on this and doing a symptomatic cure. This is the difference. And of course, I will explain further. So coming to the same symptom here also, we go to the symptoms and we try to, only do a symptomatic cure, or, brushing it up, it will not help. So again, the means and the cure is the holy name. Take shelter of the holy name. Same thing Haridas Thakur mentions in the Chaitanya Charitamrita about this in detail. You can read that also. So please depend on holy name. The holy name is only our shelter, and holy name is very, very kind, very, very merciful. As I mentioned, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has empowered his energy, his all strength, all mercy in this holy name. Krishna and Radharani has put their mercy. So just take shelter, don't worry. And the best way to come out of is Vaishnava Seva. Please serve Vaishnavas. Please serve more and more. You serve. Once one devotee went to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj with so many questions. He had so many questions. He had so many doubts, and not only even arguments. So he said, Maharaj, I wanted to discuss. Siddhanta Maharaj could understand his purpose of coming. So he said, yeah, I will take all your questions and answers. I will give you the whole day to you. But before that, can you do some help? He said, yes, Maharaj, what can I? There's something help in the kitchen. Can you please do some service, help the kitchen, come, then I will be also free. I'll finish my business and I'll come. So he went happily and he was there in the kitchen for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, something. He was there continuously. Then he came back and Maharaj asked, let's discuss. He said, Maharaj, no, Maharaj, everything is fine. All my doubts are, what happened? He said, no, Maharaj, he was so happy, he left and went home. Nothing happened. There was no discussion. Just he was completely purified. So this is the only means, serving and to read Srila Prabhupada's books and to engage in devotional service. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hope I have answered my question, your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shanmugh Prabhuji. We have another question from Alok Prabhuji. So,
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. My name is Alok Upadhyay. Prabhuji, based on your experience with vice principal of Vrindavan Gurukul, I just want to know how to engage teenager for the chanting. Like new generation teenager is from them it's hard to tell them okay sit for a long time and do the 16 rounds. So how can we engage them for the chanting?
Yes, I think my wife Madhumati Mataji can answer this question more better than me. I am not watching to this preaching. Yes, correct. But yes, thank you for asking this question. This is very important question. Everybody is struggling, both materialists and spiritualists, all are struggling to engage them. The best thing is, of course, from childhood, like Prahlad Maharaj says that from 5 years, we have to train them. That's why the Prabhupada created this Gurukula system in Vrindavan and Mayapur. So that children at the age of 5 should go to Gurukula and learn this science from the spiritual master. Because the more we are late, even myself, I can understand. I took Krishna consciousness when I was 23 or 24 years. And it's very difficult even now because of all those habits that we have learned before. It's very difficult now to throw them back. But I see my children who are from birth, they have been in Krishna consciousness. I sometimes even envy them. What kind of fortune they have, what kind of Krishna consciousness, what kind of habits and qualities they have imbibed. So it feels like, I've always been an expert that I should better birth in a devotee family, It's very important that, but it's never to be late, then never. It's always. So whatever possibility, please engage yourselves at home. It's, they always look at parents. Children always follow parents. They always look up at the parents, not teachers, not outside. They are secondary, first parents. So if we follow the process nicely, sincerely, they will follow with us, even if they are a little late also. Better be parents set an example than things and follow. At home, it's important to have a proper, atmosphere of Krishna consciousness. Then it will be very nice. I will also add here, I wanted to tell in the class, it's inspirational thing for all of you. Yesterday I was speaking to one of our employees who is a devotee. She's coming from Bhaktivedanta Hospital and she's working with us now because we also associated with Bhaktivedanta Hospital. So she was, her husband passed away in 2020 in COVID, and he was a devotee, and that's one. And she was telling interesting things how he passed away, and all their family are devotees, and especially her father-in-law, her husband's father. He was paralyzed and he was completely bedridden. He could not move his mouth. He couldn't speak a single word. Single word he cannot talk. But he would chant 16 to 20 rounds Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Perfect chanting. He will not miss a single. Perfect hearing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He will chant perfectly without a single mistake. But he will not even say only that we must say. But Hare Krishna, he chant and left his body. So this is the power of the holy name. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhuji. So just want to check if there's anyone else who wants to ask any question.
Alok Prabhu, did I answer your question? Sorry, I did not.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And both Nirmal Krishna Prabhuji and Madhumati Pushkarni Mataji, they have a lot of experience, managing kids, teenagers, and even small kids. So if someone wants to, approach them, they are always very happy to support them. Yeah. And so just want to check if anyone else has any question, comment before we end the session. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
His Grace Nirmal Krishna Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Vilas Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Om Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shyamrata Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.